Good morning. My name is Amanda Capshaw, and I'm here to share with you a little bit about Maria Montessori and the movement that she made in education. Maria Montessori was the late 1800s to the early 1900s, and at that point in time, schools were focused on factory-based learning. Schools weren't fun; they were white walls, things like that. Special needs students were not allowed to come, girls were not allowed to come. And so Maria really wanted to make a movement in education towards allowing everyone to be able to learn. Although she did not begin in education, she began as a doctor, a medical doctor in the pediatrics. That's where she saw the special needs kids being in facilities um, where they were not given any stimulation or education. They were just put in rooms and not able to do um, educational things. So she didn't want her education to be like the factory at all. She was a constructivist who really wanted the kids to touch, feel, experience. She wanted a sensory rich environment where the education was touching things, playing with things, um, observing experiments and things like that. But she did open education to all learners and created a very differentiated learning. She was able to teach special needs students who had been put in a facility, and she had a class of 22 who were not expected to pass state exams, and she had 8 of those students be able to pass state exams. So she was the beginning of differentiated learning and trying to meet those needs for the special education students. She also believed very much in early education. She wanted students to learn as early as possible so that they could get a good basis for their education. She wanted them in um, structured classrooms at an early age. She also focused a lot on self-learning. The kids were taught to be self-motivated, self-directed. They were able to make choices about what they wanted to do, what activity they wanted to participate in, and things like that. She also believed a lot in peer learning, where students, instead of asking the teacher for help, they would ask other students. She also believed in the mixed age groups, where there would be 3 to 6 year olds together, so the 6 year olds could learn from the 3 year olds, and the 3 year olds could learn from the 6 year olds. After reviewing a lot of this, I looked at some teachers' opinions of this. They said one of the things that's really important with the Montessori is that the teachers are trained well, and if they're not well trained and well trained in a classroom where there are students, it's very difficult to be able to do this. Also, the Montessori approach expects there's not any downtime for the teachers. They are fully attentive and aware of what's happening, and because students are making their own choices, they're all over the classroom doing different things. So you must be fully attentive and present at all times. But the teachers really did like and believe that the children learned in this way. Some of the parents were concerned about the students growing up too fast, having to do some of the activities on their own that maybe they weren't ready for. They're also concerned about too much freedom of choice. They believe that there was too much freedom of choice. I talked to one parent who actually sends her students to Montessori at this time, and she's like, I have difficulty getting my child to leave because she does enjoy it, which is good, but I'm not allowed to tell her that she needs to leave because that needs to be it needs to be something that she decides on her own. Myself, I really like the mixed age groups. I think it's awesome to have multiple age groups. That's one of the things I think is lacking in education, is to have the older kids learning from the younger kids and the younger kids learning from the older kids. And with differentiated learning, we should be able to do that. I love the differentiated learning. My students in my classroom benefit a lot from the differentiated learning. I also am very much a constructivist where students need to touch, feel, and be a part of it, especially with the students I have that I work with autism. They need to be able to have those things. I'm really not impressed with the self-motivation and the students at a young age being able to direct themselves in their learning. I feel like it needs to be more teacher based and teaching them that. Eventually, when they get older, I do feel like they can move to that. But the open choice, I am very focused on structure and giving my students a structure, especially for my autism students. They cannot have a lack of structure. They need to know where they're going and what they're doing prior to that. So this is just a little bit about Maria Montessori. There is so much that she has done in her movement to education. I hope this has helped you understand her a little bit more.